So if you've ever shopped at a Bath & Body Works in the state of California, chances are that candle was in our warehouse at some point. Hey everybody, this is Kevin Truett. I'm the Executive Vice President of Business Development for Speedy Delivery, and you're watching the Last2First podcast.
You damage a floor, one little scratch, they want the whole floor redone.
Sometimes you gotta fire your customer. You have to be real, you have to be relatable, you have to be relevant, and you have to be relational. Right now, we're testing robotics in one of our facilities in Los Angeles.
You're a former TV host, international public speaker, you're a pastor, you're a founder of Connection for Life Ministries, you're doing humanitarian work in Africa. Where'd you come from?
You're not dreaming big enough unless someone calls your dreams stupid. You treat people well, even when you're not treated right. And when you do that, you will go from being last to being first.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our next episode on the Last2First podcast, where we bring you the latest, the greatest, the innovators, moving this industry from last to first. I'm excited to be joined by a special guest today. We've got Kevin Truett, who's the EVP of Biz Dev for Speedy Delivery in the house. Kevin, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. How you doing?
I'm blessed to be here, man.
We are blessed to be here. All right, quick story. We met a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
At the bar.
Yeah.
We're at the we're at a conference, and we just kind of stumbled into each other.
Yeah.
And we started talking. About 5 minutes into the conversation, I'm like, man, you're a different kind of cat, man. I don't meet some people like you. You have a wealth of experiences that I'm excited to get into today. But you had an energy and a presence. Just even, I know I had maybe a couple drinks at that time, but I wasn't too far gone. But I really enjoyed the quick conversations. So I said, hey, look, next time we're in the studio, I got to get you in there. And so thank you for being here.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a good conference then. It's going to be a good conference coming up.
Absolutely. There's a lot of things to talk about there. All right, first, just break down Speedy Delivery, just for the audience who may not be familiar with you guys. What do you do, where you do it, how you do it?
Sure. Speedy Delivery is a last mile, final mile provider of white glove, big and bulky. But about 6 years ago, we also started getting into pool distribution. So we've got warehouses all over the country where we're consolidating, sort sagging, and then taking it out to the retailers. But we started with final mile, white glove, big and bulky, to the consumer's home. That's it, right? And I've been with the company for almost since the beginning. We've celebrated just celebrated 25 years.
That's awesome.
We've grown a little bit since then, but we started like that, and it's just kind of evolved. I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's a tough start because I've said this on the podcast a couple of times. Big and bulky white glove, that's the tough stuff. Like, that's no one. If you go walk around these conferences, people are like, I don't really want to do that because it comes with a lot of complications. You could have, driver issues. You typically need two-man teams. You have, need schedulers inside. You go inside someone's house and you damage a floor, one little scratch, they want the whole floor redone. So it presents a lot of challenges, but it's one thing in my experience, like we tried it a little bit when I had my business, and I quickly realized that I was way over my skis. And my dad at the time was like, you got 6 months to figure this out. I'm pulling the plug on this thing. And he did pull the plug. But why was that the starting point? I know you may not have been there at the time, but why start with the hardest part of the segment? In under 2 years, Last2First has grown from zero to reaching over 500,000 people across the last mile industry. And what's even better, that half of every episode gets watched from start to finish. That's operators like you tuning in because we skip the fluff and get straight to how the best in our industry are actually solving problems. If you're not subscribed yet, season 7 is the time to start. And there's more. Subscribe today and get free access to our L2F huddle. It's a community with a curated news feed built just for last mile operators. Has a searchable library for every past episode we've done by keyword, and you get direct access to vendors who support our industry. It's free and it's built for you. Subscribe to Last2First and sign up at L2Fhuddle.com. Thank you.
Yeah, I actually was there, just not employed. So the owner, his name is Matt Dieter. Long story short, I was a youth pastor at the time in Richland, Washington. He was in my youth group, but he was too old. He was just graduating out, and so he became part of my staff. We became pretty close. He was a warehouse manager and delivery driver for a furniture store in that local town. That store was closing down. Rather than losing his job and kicking it somewhere else, he bought their truck, ended up closing out that shop with their truck, not as an employee anymore, but as an IC. That's how Speedy started, with one blue truck.
Damn.
And he called me and asked if I would help him build it. And of course, at the time I was like, bro, you can't afford this. It's not going to work out. I want to, but as a friend, I'll help you out any way that I can.
Right.
So we just kind of started doing that. But the reason it started as big and bulky is because that's what he was doing. That's all he knew.
Yeah.
People would buy furniture. He put it in the truck and went and delivered it, right? That's all he knew. So that's how he started. And we just did that all up until about 6 years ago. And we're still doing it, but we added more things after that. That's how it got started.
Got it. Let's talk about the growth, because you said 20 years or 25 years?
25 years.
25 years. Mm-hmm. So from that one blue truck, this was, what market were you in at the time? Where was this at?
Richland, Washington. Eastern Washington.
Okay. Not a big metropolitan area.
No, not at all.
So the company has grown quite a bit now. What's the footprint today of the operation?
Yeah. So we started in Richland, Washington, and I came on as the business development guy, just basically trying to sell his services, right? And you're right. It's a very small little town.
Yeah.
So we knocked on doors, man. We went to Pier 1 Imports. We did some stuff with Costco there. We did, just all local mom and pop shops, mostly, with the exception of Costco and Sears, but mostly mom and pop shops. When we got our first facility, which was just about 6 years ago, we started expanding with pool distribution. Now we're in Washington, Oregon, all up and down California. We're in Arizona, Oklahoma. We're in Chicago, upstate New York. So our footprint is fairly large now, and we continue to grow. But that all came once we went into the consolidation and then the sort, seg, and distribution. Yeah. Before that, it was all dedicated trucks, right?
Store to door.
Dedicated trucks, mostly in Eastern Washington. We did go into Oklahoma with the big furniture retailer there, dedicated, but the drill. We backed our trucks up to their facility, loaded it up, and went to the customer's house.
Yeah.
Now a lot of them are coming to our facilities, and those are all over the country. So it's fairly large footprint.
Let's talk CXT for a sec. Look, in an industry like ours, there's always noise, old stories, old reputations, people talking about the past. But CXT isn't focused on that. They're focused on how operators perform today. As compliance gets tighter and operations get more complex, the old tools, they just can't keep up. And CXT gives you a clearer picture, real-time dashboards, performance tracking, and smarter autonomous routing that surfaces issues early in the game and improves outcomes over time. That's where the industry's headed. Here's where you should be at, cxtsoftware.com. I'm going to stay here for a second because I think it's an important part for people to understand, because oftentimes in our space, even I was in the lift coming over here to the studio, and I'm telling the lift driver, like, I run this podcast. She's like, what is last mile logistics? So people hear these terms, pool distribution. The first time I heard this, I thought they were moving products for a swimming pool.
Yeah.
So one, just explain pool distribution for the audience. And then two, I want to talk about the difference in what you were saying. How now you have these forward stocking locations where you consolidate and freight versus the store to door, and how that's accelerated some of the growth you've seen.
Yeah. So pool distribution, I've fell in love with it. We started during COVID. Okay. So during COVID, we were approached by L Brands. At the time, it was L Brands. Now it's BBW. And they asked us if we wanted to participate in this RFP. And at the time, I was like, we don't deliver swimming pools. No, I didn't say that, but we didn't know pool distribution. We didn't know, that wasn't our model. I said, if you will hold our hand and help us through, we'll run the numbers. If it makes sense, we'll go for it. So we went for it, and we lost. So the first bid we lost, that was in the Pacific Northwest. They called us back, said, hey, do you want to try again? I said, you got to hold our hand a little better, because we got to win this if we're gonna do it. And he goes, we will. So they held our hand. We went to it, and we won. And that was in San Francisco, their biggest market. Now, what the difference is that now they bring all of their product to us from their DC, and it could be 120 stores worth of product, right? But they don't go to every store. They just come to us in a big trailer, unloaded, floor loaded, by the way, and we're unloading every single carton, and every carton has a label on it. That label tells you what store it goes to.
Yep.
Our warehouse crew sorts it, segments it, puts it on pallets going to that specific store, and there could be 120 pallets, maybe 240 pallets, 2 pallets per store, whatever. We're sorting every single carton off that trailer. Once it's sorted, we wrap that pallet up. It gets staged for, there's a lot to it, but it gets staged for the truck driver who picks it up in the morning, takes it to the store. So if you've ever shopped at a Bath and Body Works in the state of California, chances are that candle was in our warehouse at some point. That lotion was in our warehouse at some point, right? And we do that for many, many, many retailers, many retailers all over the country. So I love it because the difference is I'm not trying to carry a sofa into somebody's home worried about scratching their floor or worried that the customer's like, that's the wrong color, take it back. You know,
or they're not home.
Or they're not home or it doesn't fit. They bought a king size bed and their room is 10 by 10. Like that doesn't work. So we don't have to deal with any of that. I mean, we still do, but that's why I love pool distribution. And that's a little bit of the difference between pool distribution and what we do on the final mile side.
Yeah.
Does that help?
100%. I hope. Did it help? I hope it helped. But with that, because it's similar to my experience, we started doing some of the white glove. We got our first sort of warehouse. Actually, our first warehouse was the hallway of our office.
Okay.
We were doing some TVs for Man of Freight. I had
to start stacking them right there in the hallway.
My mom comes like, what the hell is going on here? So we got a little small, we had a customer had a little small storage room, maybe a little bit bigger than the studio we're in now. And we kind of just built it from there and we get 5,000, 10,000, ultimately up to 25,000 square feet of space. But what it taught me was that there's a different side of the business when you get into the warehousing, the cross docking, the sorting, the sagging. It's great because I loved it because now the customers are a little more sticky because like it's easier to pull business away if you're just doing delivery. In my opinion, if you are actually working with them closer on managing that inventory, managing the freight coming in, it's a little sticky relationship, little close relationship with the client. Plus, you're also potentially getting some revenue off of that part of it as well as the transportation side. So you're making more dollars, right?
Yeah.
Comes with different additional labor. Comes with it's like Biggie Small says, more money, more problems. Right? So
that's true.
That was true. But I love. I'm familiar with what you're saying. How you loved it because that was a similar experience that I shared as well. Yeah.
That final mile, it's tough. We love it. That was our core competency. Growing up as a company, that's what we did. We still do it very, very well. Appliances, big and bulky furniture, your exercise equipment. I went to one warehouse and there was 3 motorcycles in the warehouse being delivered somewhere. I don't know how we got that, but that's what we do. Doors, cabinets, windows, all of that stuff is fantastic business. That was our core. One of the reasons why I like pool distribution though, is because we're working with very, very large companies, and it's the same system and cycle day after day, every week, right? It's 200 cartons coming in, going to that store in that mall. We go to that mall every single day. It's the same, and it's very, very easy. And I love working with all of those brands and those relationships that we've built. I've got some pretty good friendships now in the retail space because of it.
Let's talk about relationships because you are the EVP of Biz Dev, so you're a relationship guy.
Yes.
If you can't pick this up through the camera, I don't know, you're missing some here. But that's the same thing I felt from you that night we met at the bar. But I know you're focused, and I want to get more into your non-transportation career and what you've done there. I think it's a tie-in to what you do now, but the relationships matter, right? A few questions on this topic. How do you establish and build relationships with customers? Just in that first example you gave, you first attempt, didn't win RFP, went back and said, hey, hold our hands a little tighter here.
Yeah.
Now, I want to dig that because a lot of times a customer who you weren't doing business with before, if I understand the story correctly, they don't take the time to necessarily bring someone brand new into the fold and hold their hand. There had to be a relationship there to do that.
Right.
So just I'm picking it up as you're talking because I want the audience to understand how do you actually cultivate these relationships to get someone to actually hold your hand, and now you've expanded to multiple markets with them. Like what's the secret?
That is a great question. I don't even know if I have the exact answer because when you're a relational type of guy like you and I are, every relationship starts a little bit uniquely, a little different. Maybe it started at a conference and we just kind of ran into each other. But honestly, when I'm going after these retailers or these clients or these partners, like I like to call them, it doesn't start with the whole pitch first. It starts with, how you doing, man? And you're from around here, and we learn about each other. 10 minutes in, it's like we're friends already, right? And who do we want to do business with? We want to do business with our friends, right? I mean, that's the reality, is we want to do business with people we know, we learn to trust, and that we like, right? That's who we want to do business with. So it starts there. These conferences, they look fun, and we're going golfing and we're doing all that. It's like, that's not really work, but honestly, it is.
It is.
Like, we're building relationships that could last forever. In fact, some of the clients that I had over the years, maybe their company closed, or maybe they moved on and went off somewhere else. We still contact each other, right? Even if they're outside of the business. So it has to start with learning who they are. Do you have any kids? Yeah. How old are your kids? What do they like? And we just start talking family first. And I think if you start building that relationship first, then the business will come. The business will come, and you have to protect that relationship piece, right? Yeah. And you have to dare to do it. I always thought, to be a success in business, I follow these three things. You have to be daring, you have to be first, and you have to be different. So in those three things, if I ask myself, was that daring, or does everybody do it? Nobody's doing it. Okay, well then that's daring. First, is everybody doing it? Okay, then you weren't first, man. You got to think of something new, right? And then be different, right? Just be different. Daring, first, and different. And I try to do that with all of my relationships and with all of our potential business. We just got to be different. And what stands us apart is that we're not always talking about my price or my product, no, I'm talking about my grandkids, man. I want to show you back. Let me show you a picture, right? And then they just fall in love with you. And then, it's not a scam or anything. It's true relationship. I think if you're good to other people, they're going to be good to you.
Yeah.
The One Big Beautiful Bill that passed Congress in 2025 cut taxes on tips, overtime, and extended tax cuts for corporations of all sizes. The one group that didn't get a targeted break was independent contractors. How is SCI responding to this?
The Flex Act is the answer. That's how SCI is responding. It's the Freelancer Expense and Tax Relief Act. It's a proposed federal tax bill that creates a statutory framework inside the Internal Revenue Code for qualifying independent contractor arrangements. It gives businesses and contractors a defined, structured test that they can satisfy before any money changes hands, guaranteeing protection from IRS reclassification if they meet the standard. SCI can help. Follow our website, where we'll be posting updates on this, as well as talk with your local government officials, because it's all about small business in your communities. Thank you.
I think it's extremely well said. It's something that I was fortunate to learn early on from my dad, who's a very relationship kind of guy. And I tried to pick up the good things about him. But you're right. I was in a presentation last week, and the guy said the similar things. You gotta start with liking the person.
Yeah.
How do you build it? Do I like this person, right? And you gotta kind of get past the ice a little bit to learn about the person, and then the trust comes, as you said. And then all these opportunities open up that you probably didn't even foresee at the time you met, because you took your time to get to know them and not just try to start selling out the gate, right? You actually had time to let that relationship develop. And now it could be something that you weren't thinking about that I'm thinking about. Say, hey, what about this? And now, boom, now that daring piece comes in and all that. So I love that. But what happens when the relationship changes, when there's challenges, right? Because the reality is, especially in this business, nothing stays the same, like most businesses, and you're constantly having to adapt and evolve, whether it's on the service side or whether the relationships at the client change. So how have you navigated the variability in relationships and how you have to constantly be on the move? Yeah,
that's a great question too, because they do change, and you have to expect it, right? We wouldn't be where we are today if we didn't learn to adapt. And as relational as we are, we have to understand that not all of them are going to last, right? And business is business. And when you're dealing with your customer is a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company, your friend that you just closed the deal with may not be there tomorrow. Somebody else you're going to have to deal with, and you don't even know who that person is, right? Or your friend who you closed that deal with just got orders from above him saying you need to cut them loose. We're going a different direction. And now you're all upset because they cut you loose. You're like, hey, I thought we were friends, right? I've had that happen. And it's hard. You don't ever want to have those conversations. But I believe that if you just if you operate with integrity and you operate with a little bit of grace, then it all comes back to you 10 times, right? So yeah, you lost that one, but you're going to get 3 more later. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep driving, keep being driven, and keep grinding at it, right? Don't give up. Don't get lazy. Just keep grinding and know that everything you do that's good in the industry and good for people, it's going to come back at you later. Yeah. Even if it doesn't look like it today, it's going to come back at you later.
That is very, very true. You said grace, and it triggered a story because I messed this up. I had a big, my second biggest client in my history when we had our business was a big hospital system. And the key decision maker was a lady named Grace.
Okay.
And it took me 3 years to probably build a relationship with her, and we finally won. After 2 attempts of the RFP, finally won a contract. Ended up being a $2 million contract. It was a nice contract. And then Grace left. And Grace we had a great relationship, but Grace held me accountable. It was always, but it was respectful, but she never let me get away with, but she was a tough-nosed customer. But I appreciated it. I respected it. And then she left, and then someone new came in, and I didn't have the same rapport. And I wasn't able to create it and cultivate it in enough time. And then slowly but surely, when a problem happened, where I can talk to Grace about how we're going to solve it, now that kind of got marked on the chalkboard. And now, all of a sudden, a year later, they're RFPing us out. And then we end up losing the account. It's much more happened than that. But it was a lesson that I learned that you can't, it's to your point, you have to expect the change.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't. I was young, and I was just thinking, okay, if I just maintain this relationship, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I didn't build relationships around, so I think that's the other lesson I learned is that, yes, there's a decision maker at this account, but get to know number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, because they may be the person one day.
That's right.
And you can never kind of just put all the eggs in one basket type of thing.
That's true. That's true. I'm writing a book called The 4 R's, and I think it's relevant here. When you're talking to a new customer, you're building that new relationship. I use this in public speaking all over the world, and it's
your TMS doesn't have it. Your third-party admin system doesn't have it. A system of record missing the most important data isn't a system of record at all. Credentials and compliance records are trapped in silos. Result, an uncredentialed driver gets dispatched. In life sciences, that mistake can kill a company. Gig safe. Complete the record.
Four R's. You have to be real, you have to be relatable, you have to be relevant, and you have to be relational. If you capture those 4 R's in anything that you're doing, whether it's public speaking or pitching or building relationships, it's going to work in your favor. Now, if you think about it, when you're going to build that relationship with a potential client, customer, they want to know that you're real, that you're not just fake, right? You know what you're talking about, and you've been there, you're real, right? So I'm just going to be honest. I'm not the cheapest. I'm going to be real. Yeah. I'm not the cheapest. Yeah. But let me also be real. Here's our stats. Right? We're just going to be real. We might mess up. And it's better for them to know that you might mess up than for you to pretend that you're never going to mess up. Because we know that that's just going to happen. So we're going to be real, right? Then we're going to be relatable. So I'm going to talk to my future customer, my future partner, my relationship. I'm going to talk to them about something that they can relate to. Like that last time we had a delivery and they messed up my wall. They're going to think, oh, dude, that happened to me. Yeah. Right now they can relate to you and they're going to love that, right? So it's relatable and then relevant. You got to talk to them about something that's relevant. Don't talk to them about an appliance delivery when they don't even need a new appliance. You got to talk to them about something that they need. Be relevant to what they need. So you got to be relevant. If you're relevant, now they're listening, right? Yeah. And then finally be relational. So I'm going to talk about the kids. I'm going to talk about my kids when we were delivering that last sofa and my kid kept running in the way. And they're like, okay, that's relatable. My kids are always in the way, right? And then you're being just relational. Now it's like they know my kids, I know their kids. Yep. And if you're real, if you're relational, relatable, relevant, those 4 R's, you capture those 4 R's, You can do anything, man. I'm telling you can do anything.
Yeah, this guy's good, man. I'm telling you, this guy.
No, I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you what.
Well, I'm
what
saying
we
you're
live by.
good because it's not you're not preaching, or it's not a speech. You did all those 4 things.
Those are things we're doing
before
with you
before the camera came on. And at the bar, I mean,
right.
I mean, every single one of those R's you hit. As you're talking about, he did that, he did that. So I like this guy. We're talking about your son and your daughter-in-law.
That's right.
There's a coffee shop. They're going to be tonight. So all these things, the grandkids, and so no, I you're spot on. One more question on the customer side, because the growth aspect of what you guys have experienced. And a lot of it seems like it's been on the pool distribution side. Has it been with multiple customers now, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so multiple customers. And then I guess the question is, when you are growing at a clip like that, how are you managing what customers you're prioritizing? Because there's often times where customer A may want you to grow and expand, but it may not be beneficial for customer B, or it may change the way you service customer B or customer C. So when you're thinking about that, I'm kind of bring a little operations into the customer side.
Yeah.
How do you navigate some of those decisions as you guys are expanding in such a fast pace?
That's a great question also. You got good questions. But on the pool side, when we're looking at all of these different retailers, and I get an RFP, and I have many RFPs coming in every week. We're in like 3 of them right now as we speak, right? What we have to do is make.
How do you get the RFPs? Like they find you, you find them.
Oh man, I wish they just found me every time. But no, you're calling, you're making those connections. You're saying, hey, we want to be in your next round. Keep us in mind. Blah blah blah. Right now, they pretty much come to us because we know most of the retailers out there in the pool world, so they're kind of coming to us. We know their cycle.
Yeah.
But you have to make the hard decision sometimes to decline to even submit that RFP, right? We're not going to bid on this one. Why? Because you got to look at the dynamics in your warehouse. So if we only have 70,000 square feet of warehouse space, right? And the revenue for that building is, let's just say, I don't know, 15 million, right? And you got 70,000 square feet of space. You know how much you're making per square foot. Now, you can't just bring any other customer in and you drop that average by 10, 15%, right? So you got to look at that. But you also have to remember that you might have the largest client that's a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company that you would love to have. They have the volume, they pay on time. That's a big one, right? They pay on time. So you want those customers. Yeah. But oftentimes, the reason it's called pool distribution is because you're pooling it all together and you're commingling it on a single truck, right? Because we're going to one mall, but we're going to like 6 stores. Yeah. So we're going to put all 6 stores on one truck. We're going to the mall once, right? Ideally. So sometimes you don't have it full. You're going to that mall, but you only have 5 stores, and you got air on the truck, right? So now you have one little guy, and you're like, they can't pay the big dollars that everybody else is paying. Yep. They can't commit to everything else everybody's committing, but you have to make the wise decision to say, you know what, we're going to make an exception for this guy. We're not going to charge him as much because they're just going to fill that little spot right there on the truck. And you just have to make that decision. But if you don't have that little space, then sometimes you got to just say, we're not going to bid on this one. And it might be a slam dunk. They're like, no, we want to use you. And we're like, I'm sorry, it doesn't fit right now in our business model or in our facility. We don't have the capacity. I mean, there's a lot of real reasons why we have to say no to business until our lease is up. We go get a bigger building, do it all over again, right? Yeah. So that's kind of how we handle that.
What I love about that is the end part where you say it's okay to say no to a customer if it doesn't fit now. But it's like I do with my kids right now. Like so my kids are 12, so they're a little past the age. But we, I believe in a little spanking when they're growing up. Right? They got a little tap. But it was always when it happened, I would explain to them exactly why it happened, so they understood it. I think the thing that people miss is that sometimes when you're telling a customer no, well, one, it's okay to tell a customer no, right? Because if it doesn't work for you, then it's not going to work for the customer, right? That's the reality of it. But explain to them why, or maybe how it can work, or when it can work. Yeah, I think you have to understand that part, because So often I hear people on these podcasts that I host and say, we don't tell the customer no. I'm like, really? You don't? Ever? Everything works all the time? Like, I haven't had that experience, right? But I think it's just, it's in the mindset, like, we have to say yes all the time because someone else is going to come take our account.
Right.
And I'm like, well, some of that stuff you may not, they can have that, you know? So I just appreciate you kind of you sharing that because I think it's an important piece of success. Like, you can't be everything to everyone all the time.
Nope. In fact, sometimes you got to fire your customer. Things evolve, things change. They're being a little pickier than you need to be. We call them high maintenance customers, right? And you can only have so many of those, and then it's just draining you. And you can't be drained as a company. You got to set your priorities, and you can do it respectfully. You can do it as kindly as you want and as kindly as you can. Yeah. But sometimes you got to put them on notice. Say, I'm sorry, it's not working out. We're going to go a different direction.
Definitely.
And you have to fire your customer.
You got to. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. Off camera, we're talking about the future of transportation, robotics, AI. You guys are working on some things there.
We are.
Talk to me about what you're working on, if you can share. There's no one really watching this. But robotics first. I was, I geek out on this stuff too. I'm following all the latest, channels on Instagram and seeing a lot of stuff happening in China right now. And I think there's a wave of technology. It's really here, but it's not really on the forefront yet. But from your operation, what are you exploring or playing with from a robotic standpoint?
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this actually. And I think, I personally think we're not the largest logistics company out there, but we're trying to be on the front end of what's coming, right? Yes. So right now we're testing robotics in one of our facilities in Los Angeles. We're testing robotics, and the robotics is fairly simple. We see these robotics every day, and I don't know why we're just now catching up, but we see these robotics. And of course, there are larger companies. You got your Amazons of the world, and everything's already in place. But for us, logistics companies, some of us are a little behind, but we're testing right now, especially for the pool distribution. We are testing the scanning is automated, right? It comes out of the truck, it's automatically scanned. That scan tells the robotics exactly where it's going, what pallet it needs to be on. So then there's a robotic pusher, or the wheels turn a direction to put it down this line in order to go to that pallet. Yep. So it segs it out automatically. We're testing all that right now. And I'm excited about what it's going to do because it's going to make our workflow in the warehouse so much more efficient, so much quicker. Yeah. And we're going to be probably a little bit more accurate even. And our KPIs are really good, but it takes time to get it that good, right? Especially if it's dependent on a human who has to just see it with their eyes. But I think technology is going to take logistics to a whole nother place. Like, it started at, I think it was a Manifest conference, the Manifest conference in Las Vegas I went to. Yeah. And I went there to just, represent our company in the logistics space. But there were thousands of vendors there, and a lot of them was just AI and robotics and everything. Now, you've got scanners now with your finger, and you're just pointing to every box and it scans everything. You don't have to have the big gun. Yeah. And I think it's going to get even crazier. Maybe it's already there and I just haven't seen it, but I've got those new Ray-Ban glasses with the AI built in and all of that. Yep. Imagine just being able to look at everything and it scans it. Right, I think it's going there, right, and it's going to be that quick and that efficient, and I think it's a good thing for the industry because it reduces cost, it reduces time, it gets time to the customer. It's going to be much quicker, and we're doing all of that. We're also looking at how AI can automate a lot of our processes internally with our systems, from scheduling to settlements for the ICs to billing and accounts receivable. All of that stuff is going to be so much quicker rather than one admin person manually putting every single thing in. Yeah. I think that those days are going away. It's just going to be automatic.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that I've seen, I think I had an episode on this podcast where I went visit a company that has a robot that unloads the truck for you.
Yep.
And it starts scanning it.
Yep.
It will sort and second downstream for you. We've obviously heard about what's happening on the delivery standpoint in the vehicle, right? With the autonomous EVs and the Waymos and the Tesla cyber taxis coming out now. In Austin, there was a recent announcement of a company called Ride that's going to They're piloting right now between Austin and San Antonio a middle mile, essentially a straight truck.
Yes.
Have you heard of this?
Right? I think so. Completely driverless.
Completely driverless, dock to dock. But what I think that's going to do, to your point, once that is really on board and there's adoption there, it's putting the pressure downstream for more automation downstream. So now when that robotic vehicle gets to your dock, right, it needs to automatically open up.
Right.
And then automatically have another route unload it, right, and then scan it. And so when your driver gets the next morning, they're routed essentially right there on the dock, sorted, wrapped, if you will, and ready to go out. And then at some point, that driver may not be there. It will be a vehicle backing up, and then and the system starts to work truly autonomous, truly 24/7. Imagine being able to take advantage of overnight deliveries, right? Because right now, most deliveries happen during 9 to 5, right? But imagine even your customers that you're delivering to, I'm sure you have a time window. It's probably early morning, I imagine?
Yeah, they're all times, all different times. Yeah.
So, but imagine now those retailers can now open up their time windows, right? So all these things just start to clicking, which I love. But then it brings me to the reality of, well, damn, what are we doing?
Where are we going?
All these hours we're talking about, all these relationships.
Right. Like, what are we going to do with it?
What are we going to do with it? So, but on a serious note, do you, obviously you have to stay ahead of the game, as you said earlier, right? You can't sit back there and kind of wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think there's a healthy fear there of like, the game is going to be played differently in the future. And so I do still wonder how we not succeed, but how do we leverage the things that we've known, these relationships, in this new game that's coming?
Yeah, I can't speak for everybody in every position. I'm not the CEO of the company. I'm not the operator of the company. I'm not the GM. I'm not in the operations. I'm not on the truck. I can't speak for all that. I can tell you this though. I'm feeling pretty good because no matter where that technology goes, somebody's got to sell it. So in business development, we're still going to be around.
Yeah.
I don't know where the drivers are going, but I know I'm still going to be around. But all joking aside, I think that as technology drives us forward and as we get further and further advanced in all industries, not just logistics, but everyone. You can go to McDonald's now. There's nobody working. You just place your order and it gets cooked and then it comes out to shoot and there's nobody helping you anymore. Yeah. So in all industries, as technology drives us further, our minds will adapt and you just have to fill the gaps, right? There's always going to be a gap somewhere. We got to just go fill it, find it, get inspired, dream a little. I used to always tell everybody, listen, just be a dreamer and share your dreams. Like write it down, share your dreams. And if people say that's stupid, then they don't dream enough. And you're not dreaming big enough unless someone calls your dreams stupid. Like that's ridiculous. That's never going to work, right? If they're not saying that, then you're not dreaming big enough. Yeah. And I think technology is going to drive us to that, where we have to dream bigger, we have to be more innovative, we have to grind it even harder and go fill the gaps. Yeah. I can't speak for everybody, but I'm not going to let a robot keep me unemployed. That's just not going to happen. We got to figure something out.
We got to figure something out. Something got to shake.
Something's got to shake, man. Be an inventor.
I get it. All right, so as I said earlier, I got to read this part. You're a man of many talents, right? You already dropped in there earlier. You're an author. You're a former TV host, international public speaker. You're a pastor. You're a founder of Connection for Life Ministries. You're doing humanitarian work in Africa.
Yeah.
Where'd you come from?
Man, I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. That's where I came from, my mama, right? So I don't know. My parents were always about other people, and we just grew up that way. I never thought I would be doing everything you just said, but you just take life one day at a time. As we just talked about, you got to be innovative, you got to be a dreamer, and you got to be able to adapt, and that's what we did. My wife and I have been married for just over 30 years now, and we have 3 grown children, and we just adapt. And when we can help somebody else, man, we just go do it. It might cost us a little bit. It might cost us time, resources, money, whatever. It might cost us a little bit, but every time we find an opportunity to help somebody else in some way, shape, or form, we just find a way to go do that. And then somehow we're just blessed to be able to do it again later,
Yeah.
and then again later, and then again later, right? So how did all that come about? Just over time, man, just adapting, finding opportunity, and walking into those opportunities. Where do I have time to sleep? Now that we're still trying to figure out,
Yeah.
but everything else, man, we just enjoy helping other people. And teaching is I'm passionate about teaching. I'm also an adjunct professor for a university out of LA. And so I teach every second and fourth Saturday of the month online. And I have about 40 scholars getting their master's and doctorate. But I love teaching.
What do you
Why?
teach?
Because it helps. What's that?
What are you teaching?
So I teach all kinds of stuff. Recently, I've been teaching technology in ministry and technology in leadership, and how to embrace technology. Because some people are old school, man. When it comes to all that, they're old school. Like, that technology is of the devil, right? I have to show them how. It's not actually. You got to just be able to. So we walk through that. So I'm teaching that. I teach theology. I teach a lot on communications and public speaking and how to be better at it, that sort of thing. But yeah, so we're a little bit busy.
Yeah.
We're a little bit busy,
bit.
but we make it happen. I love teaching, man. I love seeing other people develop and be better than they were yesterday.
Yeah. How much so? Being a pastor, right? So being a pastor, and I grew up Catholic from New Orleans, a big Catholic town. But candidly, I wasn't going to get into this on this episode, but here we are. So maybe someone's speaking to me. But Ken, I've struggled recently with religion versus spirituality.
Yeah.
And I find myself at this crossroads where I want to be more spiritual than religious. Yeah. And we won't get into all the reasons why, but and having kids who are 12 now and trying to help them navigate this, because the one thing that my parents love them to death. They raised me and my brother phenomenally well, but I didn't really get a choice in that. I was kind of pushed into that. And as I got older and started exploring the world more and understanding things, I felt that I wanted to learn more, but I felt like I was almost disappointing. And so I didn't want my kids to ever have that. So I'm like, you got to figure it out on your own. I'll help you. But how do you? I mean, give me some advice. Like, and then as you give me the advice, like, how do you? I'm assuming this is part of your teachings, and even on the business side, does this come up at all in your business relationships?
100%. I remember I was one of the keynotes at a conference for Home Furnishings Association, and they asked me to do a keynote on work-life balance. Now, they knew who I was. They said, now, don't come in and preach and all that. I'm like, no, I won't. I'm not going to come in and preach. I'm just going to talk about work-life balance, right? But there's so many principles, biblical principles, that I can share with you without even naming a scripture or anything. And it's in the Bible. And if you live those things, you see good things happen. But back to your question, like, actually your situation where you're looking at religious versus spirituality, I love that you're actually looking at that, because it's not the same, right? And people used to come up to my wife and I when we were actually pastoring, we actually had a church, and they'd say, hey, I'm not religious, because we'd invite them to church. Like, oh, no, I'm not religious. I'm like, oh, that's perfect, because we're not either. They're like, but what? You go to church? I go, yeah, but we're not religious. Like, that's different, right? That's different. And then they ask, well, what's different about it? The difference is that you have your own personal convictions, and that's between you and the God you serve, and you stay faithful to him. He stays faithful to you. Has nothing to do with how many times you go to church or mass. Has nothing to do with whether you went to confession or not, or whether you did any of those things. That's man-made religion. But when you just have a knowing in your brain that you personally are living your own convictions, and it's between you and the big guy upstairs, the big boss. As long as you're good with that and you feel he's good with you, then who am I to say anything against that, right? Now, we stick to the biblical truths. I know you weren't getting into that, so we won't take too long, but we just stick to what we believe the Bible is true, and we just stick to that. And we don't try to cover it with our own interpretation or whatever, So religion and spirituality, I just keep them balanced by separating it for the most part. Like, I used to tell everybody, we're the least religious church you'll ever go to. They're like, what the? I'm going to your church. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how we did it. It's about a personal relationship with the God you serve.
Yeah.
And if you have that, all the religious stuff can stick to the side. That's how I look at it. I may be wrong, man. I may be wrong, but I'm gonna err on the side of relationship with God.
Yeah.
Than getting religion wrong. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I did do a spiritual retreat about a year ago, and one of the first things this guy was teaching was that, you are God. God is here. Like you don't have to go anywhere else to find him. Like you can find him right inside. And so that brought me a lot of comfort to know that you don't have to go chase these different teachings and saying, like, you can find them wherever you are.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think that's I don't know how the hell we got on this topic on a transportation podcast, but sometimes somebody may need to hear this message out there. So I appreciate you sharing that.
For sure.
And I do think that for every one of us, no matter what we're doing, right, I think that it's important that we all have that oneness and that connectedness to whatever or whoever it is that you believe to or subscribe to. Because I do think at the end of the day, like, we all want to be a part of something bigger than us, that community aspect, whether it's talking about business or sports or whatever it may be. And then my last question on this part is the work you're doing in Africa.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a big benefit tonight. I'm not sure when this will air, but tell me about what you're doing in Africa and then the benefit tonight we'll be going to.
Yeah. So 6 years ago, I was a keynote speaker at a college graduation in Tanzania, East Africa. From there, I was introduced to a whole bunch of people. Business leaders, government leaders, church leaders. They asked me to come back. And then the way it started was they just said, hey, we need you here. And I was like, well, I'm not moving yet. So, we need your covering, your guidance, and all of that. My wife and I looked at each other. It was like, are you digging this? And she's like, I love it here. I'm like, okay, well, let's see what we can do. So we went back the second year, and we met with business leaders and church leaders all across East Africa. One guy took us on a tour. It was a long tour. And we just started establishing relationships and vetting, because there's a lot of scammers there, but we started vetting the people. And if they were like-minded and we felt right, we brought them in under our nonprofit, our ministry covering, and it just exploded from there. So then we started going to the people and the needs, and we dug our first water well. And it was incredible because the people that we served there were walking 2 miles just to get water out of a river, and they would carry it on huge buckets, if you've ever seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Huge buckets walking 2 miles for their water. And that water wasn't even clean. It was shared with cattle and all of that, right? So we dug a well, and the geologist there was telling my guy that on the ground there that, hey, if you dig just a little bit farther, there's like, it's an amazing river underground that will last you forever. That's what he said. So they called me up, said, hey, we got to dig like 1,000 feet, or no, not 1,000, like 100 something feet deeper.
Okay.
I go, well, how much is that going to cost? Like $1,000. I'm like, okay, done. Do it. Do it. So they dug deeper. That thing exploded, bro. Wow. And the geologist said, this is the strongest well we've ever seen in this region ever. And they tested the water. They said there is a natural mineral in this water that is not found anywhere else, which makes this the healthiest water in the entire region. Wow. And it's so strong, it will last. This well will never dry out. In 100 years, it's going to be this strong. And I'm like, okay, we did it. We did it. So we put a big water tower up, and now we service 300 homes currently, but we have capacity for 900 homes in that region. So we've already we dug the trenches and piped water to 300 homes and businesses and schools and churches. And we're trying to get to 900, but that trench and the meters just cost a lot of money. In addition to that, we have a school right there on the same property, and we have a school of about 200 primary students from kindergarten to high school. Okay. The government came in; they're trying to catch up with the United States on regulatory or safety codes, and so they've now just overnight changed all their safety codes to make sure that the kids are safe. Before, it was dirt grounds. Just literally branches and wood, like just trunks, tree trunks. Those were the posts.
Wow.
And we used tin sheets for the walls. That was fine for years and years and years and years. So we could build schools cheap, right? They told us we had to tear it all down and build new ones with a foundation, had to be this high, had to do this, doors had to be like that. And it's like, I felt like I was in America again.
Yeah.
But I also have to pay American prices now because it's so expensive to do that there. So that's what we're trying to raise money for, is to, I call it kingdom business, where we don't just go there on a mission trip to preach to people. We go there to build businesses that make them sustainable.
Yes.
So that's what we're teaching them: business, we're teaching them leadership, we're teaching them entrepreneurship. So now we have a water system there for them to do. We have schools for them to do. We have farms for them to do. And we go there to build all of that for them. So we come in, we get them started, we train them, and then they're off and running. So we've got several schools. We have a farm in Uganda. We have the water company, and we do all of that. So this event that we're doing tonight, that I'm really happy that you're going to be there, is in my backyard. So since I live near here, we have 59 acres of wooded land. We're going to do archery. We're going to do gun target shooting. We're going to do axe throwing. We got disc golf. We got the food, the drinks, the live music. And I brought home with me from East Africa a bunch of actual hand-painted pieces of art that were painted by the tribal members. And when I say tribal members, these people still live in huts made out of mud and cow manure. Wow. And that's what they live in. And they make their living by painting these art pieces and selling them to tourists that come through town. And you'll see them tonight.
You showed me a couple pictures.
Did I?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I saw this guy, and he had a whole room full of them.
Yeah.
And I said, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Well, we're doing this for our school for the orphans." I said, "So all of these paintings, the proceeds go to the orphans?" He goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll buy all of them." So we bought them out. We rolled them all up. I took them on the plane. I had a bunch of them. Now we have about 20-something left. And all of those funds go right back into the schools in East Africa. And he was so happy that day. That's to sell one or two, he's excited. And I said, I'll take that one, that one, that one. Then we went all the way around. He had a good day that day. But that's what the benefit is about. It's to help with finishing the school. We have about $20,000 more to raise to finish the school. I think we're about 60 to 70% done. Okay. And we still got to finish the rest of the classrooms, and the offices and the bathrooms and all of that. So that's what we're doing tonight. It's going to be fun.
I love it. I mean, incredible work. The mission and the people that you're impacting there for generations to come.
You should go with me, man.
I would love to,
because I take groups every single year. I take groups of about 18 people.
Okay. All right. Well, put me on the short list.
I will let you know.
All right. So we wrap up. I ask all my guests one kind of concluding question, which is, what's your personal or professional last to first moment? So when you think about your incredible life you've had so far, your career, if you can point to a moment where had you not kind of went the right direction, you may not be sitting here and sharing the story and the insights with me now.
I got the best last to first moment for you right
That's
now.
it.
This is it. It all comes down to this right here. I was traveling to Las Vegas for a show. And now if you've ever been to Las Vegas, the hotels are crazy, right? It takes you a mile just to get to your room, right? I had a late flight that was delayed. So I got in really late. By the time I landed, I was past time to get my car. So I had to wait for a car.
Yeah.
By the time I got my car and got back to the hotel, I get to the hotel, there's a mile-long line at the registration, right? I've got all of my booth stuff, which I have in the back of my truck right now that we're setting up. I have all of that with me, plus my luggage, right? Plus my backpack with my laptop, all of that. And I'm going through this massive hotel. I don't even remember which hotel it was, but it was long. I'm standing in line. I wait about 40 minutes through the line, pulling all my stuff, right? I get to the counter finally, and I'm tired. It's like 1:30 in the morning. 1:30 in the morning, and the lady goes, "Oh, Mr. Truett." And, she's doing all her typing. I don't know what they're typing, but she's typing. And she gives me my keys. I'm like, "Oh, I'm tired. Let's go." So I got my keys. my room is a mile away, man. You got to go through the casinos. You got to go around the restaurants. You got to go down this hall that's a mile long with just walls, nothing else.
Yeah.
Then you get to the elevator. You got to go up. And your room is never right there off the elevator, ever. You got to go down the freaking hall for a mile, right?
Yeah.
And I'm lugging all this stuff, man. I get to my room. I don't even know how long it took me, but I got to my room finally, and I go to tap, and
Key don't work.
red, blink, blink, red. Right? I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding. I put it back. I get the second key. So I always get a second key just in case. So I get the second key, beep, beep, red. I'm like, are you kidding me? And I already know if I call somebody, it's going to take an hour, right?
Yeah.
So what do? Get all my stuff, man. I lug it back a mile, dude. Down the elevator, down the hall, down through the casino, past the restaurants, back in line, right? And now I've been in this hotel for at least an hour and a half. At least an hour and a half. And I have not got to my room yet. So I get to the counter. Now, in this moment, right? In this moment, you would be upset.
Oh, I'm hot.
Most people would be hot. Like, and you would have reason. And you'd be justified to express yourself. But instead, I went to that counter. I said, ma'am, I'm really sorry, but my key doesn't work. They said, oh, Mr. Truett, what room? Let me check, blah, blah, blah. She's like, are you sure your key? I go, I'm positive. I would not have come down here if my keys did not work. So I was just as nice as I could be, Jason. And I just said, my keys don't work. Can you get me keys at work? She goes, oh, I will help you right now. She's doing all this typing, right? She's doing all this. I thought she would just tap and get me going. She's doing all this type. Mr. Truett, I'm so sorry that happened to you. You should not have gone through that. I said, it's okay. I'm tired. Just give me keys at work. No. We're going to make this right. I'm like, it's okay. She goes, no, I'm going to upgrade your room. I'm like, it's not necessary, but whatever. I just need to go to sleep. She goes, let me look. She's doing all this typing again. Like, what are they typing, Jason? I have no idea. Like, most of the computers, they're just like forms. And she's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So anyway, she's typing. She goes, Mr. Truett, I got you in an upgraded room. You're going to be staying in the presidential suite. Is that okay?
Come on.
I'm like, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. If you can give me the key, that'd be great. She goes, yeah. And you know what? I'm going to comp your first 2 nights. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. She goes, you should have never had to do that. I'm so sorry. I know how far those rooms are. You're in the presidential suite now. First 2 nights are on us. Is there anything else I can do for you? I said, just make sure these keys work. She gave me the keys. I went another mile, opened the rooms like, whoa, like it was amazing. I mean, when they said presidential suite, I'm like, whoa, this is it, right? Yeah. So we got in there. I just laid down and fell asleep. Moral of the story is this, man. No matter what life throws at you, no matter how angry you can be justified being, keep your cool, stay graceful, extend grace to others, stay humble, go up to them, be as nice as you can be, and you will live what I call an upgraded life. If I could just do this one shameful pitch one more time, I've got a book called Upgrade. Look it up on Amazon, Upgrade by Kevin Truett. I live now a lifestyle of upgrades, not because I deserve it, not because I've paid for it, not because I've got status, but because you treat people well, even when you're not treated right. And when you do that, you will go from being last to being first. And I just live that, man. Everywhere I go, last to first, man. Last to first. The first shall be last, the last shall be first. That's how I look at it.
That's
so keep your head cool, and you'll see yourself live an upgraded lifestyle.
I haven't had a better close than that. Goosebumps, and just phenomenal stuff across the board, man. So thank you so much for sharing.
Man, it was
stories.
Fun.
Thank you for sharing yourself. Thank you for your presence.
Yeah, man.
It's been a great conversation. This won't be the last. We'll have to stay connected. And
for sure.
If anybody's looking for a motivational speaker, a pastor, an author, a TV host, or
logistics company,
or someone can get your pool distribution done around the country, Kevin Truett and Speedy Delivery. I appreciate it, man.
Awesome. It was a blast.
All right. I'm Jason Burns, Kevin Truett. We're out. Peace out.
Hey, everybody. This is Kevin Truett. I'm the Executive Vice President of Business Development for Speedy Delivery, and you're watching the Last2First podcast.